Hi, I'm Mike Baldur. I'm the CEO of Jackbox Games.
Now that the Jackbox Party Pack 10 looks to be complete, what are your overall feelings on the full package? What games specifically stand out to you the most? What are you most excited about?
I'm actually very excited about this pack. There's a game in here called Fixie Text, which kind of evolved over many years of trolling Google Docs. We'd be in meetings and everybody'd be working out of the same Google Doc. And as you know, everyone can edit it at the same time. And so lots of kind of funny moments came out of that. And it was a bit of an inspiration for how do we make a game out of it? And it's kind of been one of my personal favorites. So I'm excited for Fixie Text. TKO is great. And, you know, it's just as much fun in a sequel and some kind of added shirts and added mayhem to it. And it's just as fun as I think, if not more so than the original. So I'm a big fan of the original. That one stands out to me as well. And then the one that I think is just really unique for us is Dodo Re Mi. So our first kind of music game, we certainly love them. You know, if there's any kind of games in the party genre that you could consider to be competitors to what we do, we kind of always look at Rock Band and Guitar Hero and those kind of party games. And so kind of our version of a music rhythm game, I think, is a fun one and unique one. So I'm excited for that as well.
Dodo Re Mi also stands out to me as well. Every now and then you're going to come up with a game that can be played with friends or can be played alone. And this is a rare one of those. It looks like that old school DDR style, Guitar Hero style type of rhythm game. And it's something that I look at and think it couldn't feasibly been released as a standalone game. How did you come up with this idea? And was there any interest in potentially releasing this as a standalone title?
Yeah, there's thoughts of that with some of other games as well that we've had over the years, that some of these ideas and some ideas candidly we haven't yet built just because they would take a much longer development cycle, or they would require, you know, more of a team effort than perhaps what an individual game in a party pack release would get. But this one is, you know, very much a passion project of a handful of folks in the studio. Had a really strong, compelling pitch and managed to get over some of the kind of technical hurdles of how our mobiles as controllers would work in a timed-based game. And it just had a really kind of incredible prototype and pitch, and there was just a lot of support for it internally. It could very well have blown into a much larger game, a music game, but we don't want to go the route of peripherals. We don't want guitars and keyboards and the stuff that you'd get in Rock Band. You know, we could also go the route of licensed music. That starts to add all kinds of complications and expenses and just kind of bloat to the overall production of what it would take to build. And so we decided let's keep it kind of small. But having said that, it's actually quite a big game. And for our typical cycle of, you know, 10 months or so that the game teams get in order to make an individual party pack game, this is a really big game for that. And it's really unique. It's required new tools and just a whole new kind of pipeline relative to how we've kind of built some of our other games, which are definitely more language based. And we have lots of tools for that, for prompts and post VO and trivia and that type of thing. This one required its own suite of development tools, but the team's done an awesome job, and it's just as fun. And as it's kind of evolved from what the prototype was, which was very fun, into what it is now, it's just incredible, I think, what they've been able to achieve.
You always do manage to bring back at least one classic game, and I was interested in seeing what it was this time around. I was really surprised to find out that it was TKO. What made the team want to go back to TKO after all this time?
Yeah, it hasn't had a sequel treatment. It's one of the main reasons. It's a very popular game. You know, as you would imagine, we have kind of metrics on our back-end systems that facilitate the controller to game connectivity. And so we know what people are playing. We know what games are popular. And TKO has remained one of the most popular games over the years, and we've never really done a sequel to it. So it's really just the fans have asked for it and been part of customer surveys on an annual basis. We ask the questions, what sequels might you want to see that we haven't, a title that we haven't revisited, or maybe one we haven't done a sequel to, and TKO has resoundingly kind of come out on top every time we've asked that question.
All right, you gave me an overview of what Fixie Text is, but I have to ask, how did you come up with the idea to remove the backspace key?
Well, that's just part of the chaos of our games, right? It's like eliminating an eraser in Drawful. You know, if you make it too easy, it's just a simple drawing game. It's not a Jackbox game. Same thing with Fixie Text. If you make it too easy, it's just a simple doc editing type exercise. And we we add a little extra layer of complexity or chaos or fun by withholding certain things.
How would you describe a game like Hypnotorious? It looks like there's elements of role-playing and deduction. Am I kind of in the right ballpark there?
There's some first look videos that are already out, so you can kind of get a firsthand view of what it's like to play it. And no doubt, as we get closer to launch, I'm sure there'll be some pre-release codes shared with certain outlets in order to do some coverage of it. But yeah, it's very much a hidden identity / trying to figure out both where you are or what you are and what everyone else is and how you might be similar or dissimilar. It's fun. It's a game that you can't be overly successful with it unless you're talking. And those are games that are always good for us. We can get social interactions in the room, get people chatting and kind of jabbing each other. And it's a good way to again, kind of bring a party together. And in the case of Hypnotorious, it's a good way to be successful at the game, is get people kind of chatting and talking and trying to help reveal who you are or who you think, what your suspicions are of other people.
Of course, I have to ask about Time Jinx. I'm a big fan of Jackbox style trivia games, but what is the twist involving time travel and the host Jerry Rig?
Well, again, more stuff I'm sure will come out on all the games. I don't want to give out everything here, but it's an exciting trivia game for us. It's kind of a stalwart as far as making all kinds of trivia in the past. It's part of our DNA. It's part of what we do well. This is kind of an interesting, fun one that has kind of the bandings of time ranges in it. And in a typical Jackbox manner, it makes things accessible to many people. You don't have to be, a huge history buff or know particular trivia from a particular decade. But what we tend to do is we'll kind of range in on things and then we'll go a little deeper into that decade and ask some questions that are just a bit tangential from it. So again, it kind of evens the playing field for folks. But it's a fun wrapper, I think, for trivia, and the team's done a great job with that one as well. It's always fun to watch how these things evolve from prototypes or paper and pencil tests into what they are now, which is almost completed products as we're kind of entering submission and getting ready for launch. And again, the games come together beautifully. It looks awesome. It plays really great.
The past year of Jackbox games with Jackbox Party Packs, you're in a unique place because you've grown alongside Twitch. And one area where Jackbox has improved immensely over the past decade has been with audience participation, especially as more people are playing these games on Twitch.
Yep.
How are you aiming to further improve in this area and make the audience at home feel like they're having as much fun as their favorite streamer?
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique things that we've done over the years is we've added particular feature sets to all the games to make them conducive for streamers, to make them work in large venues or with large audiences. Depending on the game, as an audience member, you're either playing along or you're collectively playing as a player, or you're voting, and your vote, sways the game results just like any other contestants might. And so we're kind of always looking for what audience modes and audience features might be. And the other thing that we've done over time with some of that is we've added different kind of accessibility features into the game, slowing down timers, adding closed captioning, things like that. But we've then also added moderation tools. So it makes it more of a safe space for people to play these things on, what is a very public broadcast like Twitch or YouTube Live or any of those. There's the ability to censor or ban players or kick. And so we have done things like that over the years. And kind of each pack we've iterated a little bit more and made it a little bit more robust. But the nice thing about the group play aspect with Twitch or with venues, we're kind of gearing up to go to PAX West next week, and we'll do a big panel show there where we'll have a room with maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people in it, and they'll all be able to join and play along. It makes for a super fun experience. And so we try not to force it into the games, but where it makes sense, it's definitely top of mind as each of the game directors and teams are designing the games. How do we involve audience? The nice kind of tangential benefit of it too is it's a bit of an advertising opportunity for us too. It's not a passive experience for people that are watching. They can actually play the game and try it out. And if they like it, and if they happen to stream themselves, maybe it's an activity that they'll do on their channels as well.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned accessibility, and that sort of segues into my next question. That's been another area where Jackbox has been improving immensely over the past 10 years. Yeah. How would you say Jackbox's approach to game accessibility has improved over that time period? What are the continuing challenges in making it so that these games can be experienced by everybody?
Yeah, it is a challenge, admittedly, and I think anybody in making games will tell you that. It's especially when we have 5 different products, in a single pack. We do our best every time to improve on and build on the things that we've done, but sometimes there's just new challenges, like Dodos and Dodo Re Mi is a new challenge, right? I mean, it's a bit of a timing-based game, but we've added screen readers on the controllers. Like I said, we've added closed captioning. We've added the ability to slow down or stop animations, both for streaming purposes and also for light sensitivity and flashing light exposure, that type of thing. What we've always tried to do is build off of what we've done. So things that have worked and we've iterated on, we obviously continue to support, and then we try to pay attention as well to fans and responses and play tests and what might we be able to do or add going forward. And so again, certain things, a couple party packs ago when we added closed captioning, we then started rolling that out into every game. And now every game going forward has that. And so we again tend to build off of it, and we think of it as a toolkit in a similar way that we have for the streaming tools and for the moderation tools. It's how do we just continue to evolve it and get feedback and do our best. I know we don't always get it right, but we certainly try to do our best, and we certainly put development effort and time into trying to get it right.
So Jackbox can always be found at events like PAX and TwitchCon. You sort of touched on this already, but what do those events mean to you as far as gaining player feedback and also just meeting your fan base?
They're great. They're great for both of those reasons. Any kind of convention that has high touch points with the consumers, with our fans, it's a wonderful experience, both just to be able to get to know them and hear about the fun they have with the game, or maybe a pain point they have with the game, something we can learn from. But to celebrate, a lot of people just come by our stage and play the games and just hang out with us for some time during those conventions. And it's really nice because, like I said, it's always great to interface directly with the fan base and with the consumer. We can learn a bunch from it. And then they're fun events. We tend to throw panels with kind of well-known people in the industry, or depending on the groups, we might grab certain YouTube groups or things like that at different events, TwitchCon and at PAX. And so it makes it a really fun time to watch these people be goofy and funny and make people laugh. And it makes us proud as developers that they're having fun and our games are kind of achieving that with a live audience.
And last question for me, where does Jackbox go from here? You've put together 10 years of Jackbox Party Packs. Do you keep going with this model 10 more years, eh? Or do you want to, or has the team thought of maybe shaking things up a little bit for the next round?
Yeah, as a studio, we're larger than we've ever been, staffing wise, and the intention around that is so that we can do some more things than just doing an annual party pack. So, I think it's safe to say that we will continue to do party type games like this. Whether you're going to see Jackbox Party Pack 20 or not, I don't know. Time will tell on that. But it's safe to say we're working on more party games, and we're working on some unannounced new stuff as well.